Alright, we are here making a compost tea today. I made one video prior, but that mixture was probably a little light, so I'm going to go with a double dose. We're using about 8 to 10 gallons of water. So, in our brew bag, we're going to put 4 cups of worm castings in our bag. So that's going to be 8 of these scoops here of worm castings. These are nightcrawler castings that were fortified, or I fed eggshells to, along with many other things, but eggshells is the first thing, or main thing. We're also going to be adding a cup and a half of blood meal and a cup of bone meal. To our water, we're going to be adding 5 drops of Super Thrive. Also, one of the amendments we're going to be putting in to the bag here will be my homemade mineral dust at, like, I don't know, a handful in the bag. That's this stuff here. That is natural clay from our cattail marsh that I heated up and dried. You can see it's very fine. Heated up and dried, and then just let naturally grind itself down over time. This is roughly a half cup blood meal. Stuff stinks, so be careful. Don't get it on your. Make sure you're wearing gloves when you're doing this too. We're also going to be adding 4 capfuls of the fish fertilizer. And then we're going to start brewing it. It's going to brew for 24 hours. So tomorrow afternoon, I'm going to take the first probably half of that and spray it on the leaf, foliar spray it. Then we're going to let it brew for another 12 to 24 hours, and during that time, I'm going to be taking it off and feeding that to the roots. The foliar spray I'm going to dilute probably for every 1 cup of compost tea, or let's say, yeah, every cup of compost tea I'll probably put 2 cups of water in, so 50 to 1, let's say. But that depends on the brew. The temperature also has a lot to do with the microbes you're brewing. Don't brew your microbes in a cold environment if you want them to be working in a hot environment, because you're going to be making the wrong microbes. I need something to cut this open. Basically, what we're doing is creating a microbe boom and trying to steer it towards certain microbes. One of them being, I believe, lactobacillus. But in this area, we have a very rich source of natural resources. So I'm able to make now fermented plant juices to go with this. And we're getting different minerals from those. So really, I'm just throwing everything I can at this stuff And then if we start to see signs of deficiency, we don't want to overdo anything, but if you start to see the signs of deficiency, then you address those. There's not too many, and not only deficiencies, we'll be adding silica this year to our regimen too. That helps keep your plants real healthy. Your like your outer shell of the plants. Anyways, now let's see. We got 3 cups of those in there, or I mean a cup and a half of 3 cups of oatmeal, a cup and a half of this. And this had a hole in the bottom, so I didn't never use the opening. Open it up. Cup and a half of bone meal here. Now we're making, this is all food for microbes. We're building a microbe colony. It blooms kind of like a flower, It'll have its heyday and then it'll, walk off into the sunset. And during those different stages, they feed different things, different stuff, for different reasons. So, okay, in here, opening our, so I make my own insect frass. It is mosquito frass. I use it in indoor flowers to keep fungus gnats eliminated, basically. They also have nitrogen in them, but they also work as like a stimulant to induce different aspects in your plant. They think they are being attacked by bugs because of the chemical compound of their skeleton or their exoskeleton, whatever it may be. Because this is mosquitoes and some moths, white moths, ground up finally. So it'll stimulate different things in a plant that'll make it more resistant to the natural bugs around us. Although I do have a strong natural, bug environment. We got predator bugs, we've got bees, honeybees, and different kinds of other bees. My peppers get pollinated by bumblebees that I watch every day I go out there. There's a bumblebee, at least one, pop into every freaking flower, and then go into the next plant. Up, just meticulously going through my pepper plants. I owe them a great deal. I believe those are one of the only bees that pollinate pepper plants. Not mistaken, or one of the only, if not the only. So we're gonna go with a good pinch here. I'll show you what this stuff looks like. Good pinch, but that's also got the wings in there, so you gotta be careful. You don't want to be breathing those in. Oops, we'll put some in there, but we want to put it in a bag. So everybody's brewing. All right. Okay, so we've got our rock dust, our blood meal, our worm castings, our bone meal, our mosquito frass, and now 4 caps of Alaskan fish fertilizer. You can only imagine that comes out of the holds of ships when they come back with fish. I don't know. What's left of fish? 1, 2. It's best to use, you can use this any way you want, really, but it's best to use it 3 in a compost tea, because it'll break down here instead of out in your garden, and it won't attract bears, because that's one of the things. I don't know what human sweat does for this system, but it's getting some of that in it too. And we do have at least one bear around here. Like I said, I have some beehive, or well, this year I have one beehive because I'm venturing into new territories with YouTube. I forgot where I was going with that, but oh, the bear. He comes around for about a week, the first week of July. It's he or she, whatever, but I do have a cast of one of his footprints, and that was from last year, and it was small, but I wouldn't mess with its size bear. And this year I can only imagine, since that was July, he's probably twice, or well, at least half the size bigger, now. Anyways, we've got our blue bag. We're going to put our air stones. We've got 4 air stones. I've explained all this in a prior video. 4 air stones, 25 feet of line that I use most of, air line. This, I'll show you this in a minute with the camera, but this is my air compressor. We're putting 2 of these in the bag, and I mark which one goes in the bag. Not that it really matters, but I imagine these would probably get clogged up faster, so I'll know which one to place sooner. And it may hold it in the bag better, because you want this down in the bag. So we're going to put it in the bag. And I probably am using one of the lighter air pumps you're going to want to use for something like this. But, that's just going to make your stuff brew faster, I guess. So, alright. Let's see. Put this around here. Did something like this last time, but it didn't end up staying like where I put it because I moved it. Alright. So, compost tea number 2, Fortified double. We are in the middle, approaching the middle of May 2025. Minnesota, central Minnesota. We don't want this sitting on the bottom, so I'm going to raise it up. And since this has a notch on it, I'm going to readily use that notch. Whisk this up a bit. Alright. Now, the other 2 hoses. Oh, I guess I got to knot those 2, but they're higher up on here. The other 2 hoses are going in the bottom of the tank. And I'm going to untie them. So you're getting air in your bag where your microbes are. This bag is a micron bag that I use for honey, so it's a little smaller than I would normally probably use. So I'm going to search out a little bigger mesh. It seems to retain stuff in there a little more. So every once in a while, when I'm passing by, I'll give it a little squeeze to assist in getting some of that stuff out into the percolating water on the outside. Not to squeeze it too much. I don't want everything oozing out. So I'll show you the air. I don't know how this is going to work. Keep tipping over. We're going to show you the air pump, and I hang them, and it's advised that you do hang them, but I'm using a little water bottle so I can raise up and down that way. You can get those online. I don't know. Yeah, it's DATLO is the brand. You can get some splitters if you want, but that particular pump came with a manifold, or whatever you want to call it. So that's what our setup looks like. Alright. And we are going to plug them in. Since everything else seems to be a female in this system, grow plants, yada yada, I am calling my compost tea brewer, he. Not that that makes too much of a difference, but so we got air bubbles inside, air bubbles outside. That's the gist of it. Like I said, first couple of batches are coming out of there, first couple of jugs full. Are going for foliar spraying. The microbe, apparently the microbe, colony that you're spraying on them is protective, plus beneficial for nutrients. So your plants can uptake like 30% of their nutrients every day from their leaves. Make sure you strain it out a little bit, and maybe after 2 or 3 times, just give it a rinse off or something. I don't know if it plugs up stomata or not. Never heard anything about that. All I know is they say it works incredible, and it's supposed to keep your powdery mildew away, even though it seems counterintuitive, spraying your plants with something wet. But it also protects against them little bugs. I'm telling you, these microbes are mean little bastards. If you look at them underneath a microscope, it's survival of the fittest. So if you imagine 500 million of them on a leaf, and then some little poor unsuspecting bug lands there to eat this poor leaf, and all of a sudden they start consuming him just because he's touching them with his soft body. You know what I mean? Good luck in the future, everybody. If you haven't heard the word, if you're 35 or older, get a colonoscopy. Thank you. Have a great day. Adios. Brother, kid, brother, you're the man.